So for this question 3, find your cubic polynomial. Means you have to find out this. What's your A? What's your B? What's your C? And then satisfying the following condition. So the information given here is the first one, coefficient berkali X kuasa 3 adalah 1. So this is our first information. Means that when we expand it, when we expand this X with this X, the X cubed here will only have, in front here will only have value of 1. And then Q negative 1 equals to 0. This means when X equals to negative 1, it don't have any remainder. The polynomial gives us 0. So means X negative 1 is one of its factor. So when you put it in bracket, X plus 1 is the factor. Then this one you can see polynomial also equals to 0. So means that this value of 2 also will create a factor. When X equals to 2 is a root, so X minus 2 will become a factor. Factor theorem. So we can see this is factor theorem, that is factor theorem because of 0. The factor we don't have remainder, it will equals to 0. And then this is remainder theorem because you can see the polynomial equals to negative 8. And then what is your divisor here? You can see your X value here is 3. Means your divisor here is X minus 3. So from here what can we read? So we can read here, since Q negative 1 equals to 0, then Q2 equals to 0. Here we have X equals to negative 1. X plus 1 will be a factor. And then at the same time, this also we can read out X equals to 2. So X, comma, X minus 2 also is a factor. So when we say X plus 1, X minus 2 is a factor, means this bracket, one of this bracket is X plus 1, one of this bracket is X minus 2. So our task here just leaving another unknown C that we don't know. So this is how we find out our cubic polynomial. So our cubic polynomial now, Qx can be equals to X plus 1, X minus 2, and then I don't know another factor is what. So this is how we use this two-factor theorem to find out their factor. And then they say X equals to coefficient of X cubed is equals to 1. Means our linear factor here, it will start with X, X, X. You won't have any numbers here. You won't have AX. We won't have any numbers. So now our focus is going to find out our C. So we will use the third information here, reminder theorem. Reminder theorem say that Q3 equals to negative 8. So our X is equals to negative 3. We substitute into our polynomial here. This Qx also consider our polynomial, but just the presentation form is the polynomial is in factorized form. So it's not like this, it's not like expanded form. So this factorized form we also can use because they are equal, they are same. They are same polynomial actually, whether they want to write in factor form or want to write in expected form. So for this information reminder theorem, when x equals to 3, we can use our polynomial here. So substitute x equals to 3 into our polynomial. So this one will be 3 plus 1, become 4. And then this one 3 minus 2, become 1. And then 3 plus c will equals to negative 8. So 3 plus c will divide by 4, times 4 divided by 4 get negative 2, c will get negative 5. So this is how we find out our c value. So now we're going to find our cubic now. We're going to complete our cubic now. So substitute our c into our polynomial now. Therefore, our polynomial will be x plus 1, x minus 2, and then c is negative 5. So find out our polynomial. So we can expand it and then express it in expanded form. So we expand it one by one. We expand the first two factors first. We expand this first, later on we expand with the third factor. So we expand here, we get x squared, and then I expand here negative 2x, and then continue plus x, will give us negative x, then expand the value 1 times negative 2, I get negative 2, and then continue, expand to the back, start from x squared, the first term, expand, multiply to the back, x cubed, then minus 5x squared, then we move on to second term, the middle term here, negative x times this, with negative x squared plus 5x. And then we move to the third term here, negative 2 times this, we get you negative 2x plus 10. So our polynomial in expanded form, we can rearrange it according to the order. Start with x cubed, then we simplify the x squared, then x, then number. So this x squared will give us negative 6x squared. Then the x value there will become 3x plus 10. Okay, so our basically is this factor theorem. Factor theorem, we have basic here. Factor theorem will give you 1 marks here. And then we use reminder theorem. We use reminder theorem to find out our value of C here. And lastly, express our QX. So either we can accept this in factor form, or we can accept in your expanded form. Either one. So either one. So we go for question B. They say a polynomial Px. So means now we focus another polynomial. Just now is Qx. So now it's Px. Px is another polynomial, ax cubed, 4x squared bx plus 18 as a factor. So our keywords here is here, factor. So when you say factor, means our polynomial will equal to 0. So x plus 2, so our x value here will negative 2. Take out the value, x equals to negative 2. And then this is our factor theorem. And then they give us another information. They said reminder. You have a reminder 2x plus 18. Means our polynomial will equal to 2x plus 18 when it divided by this x plus 1. So our divisor here, x value will equal to negative 1. So please find out A, B. So you see we have to find out two unknown. So that's why they give us two information. So we have to use these two information to build out our simultaneous equation to find out A, B. Then only we focus to the next part, factorize the polynomial completely. So first of all, we apply this. When it say it is a factor, we write our factor theorem. So our factor theorem, it will be your divisor with this x plus 2, so your x will equal to negative 2. So substitute negative 2 into your polynomial, you'll get 0. This is our factor theorem. Get 0 because factor means it don't have reminder, so it equals to 0. And if we say reminder theorem like this one, your divisor is x plus 1. So your x value here will negative 1. So when you substitute into your polynomial negative 1, so your reminder is 2x plus 18. So we write what is your reminder here. So actually polynomial is like function also, because our function we are involving linear function, quadratic function, cubic function. So actually polynomial is apart from the function. The concept is like function like you substitute then the answer. So okay, so write our these two theorem correctly. Okay, so after we write this factor theorem and our reminder theorem, then we start do our calculation. So substitute negative 2 into the polynomial. So here we will get negative 8. Okay, then substitute 2 here. We'll get negative 16. Then substitute negative 2 here, negative 2b. Then plus 18 equals to 0. This will be our first simultaneous. So we simplify this equation. Okay, so I see negative, so I divide by negative 2. I simplify to this 4a plus b equals to 1. Simultaneous equation number 1. So same thing we will apply to this. Same thing we apply to this. We are going to substitute negative 1 into our polynomial. So we will get negative a. Then here negative 1 square become positive. And then negative 1b. And then plus 18 equals to our remainder. So you take notes of this. Our remainder also got x. So means the x here will substitute negative 1. Therefore, when we simplify negative a, negative b, so this one 18 minus 2, 16, 16 minus 18, negative 2, then plus 4, then become 2. So we will solve these two simultaneous. So you can see our equation here. Here is 1b, there also 1b, this is negative, this is positive, so I can eliminate this b. Then we can solve, we can find for a. Then we use equation 1 plus 2 so that we can get 3a. b is eliminated and then leaving 3. So we get a answer straight away. Then we substitute this a equals to 1 into either one equation. So I pick equation 2 more easier, I see. So b is equals to negative 3. Okay, so that will be our task. Find value of a and b. So a is 1, b is negative 3. So you can notice here, writing our factor theorem, writing our remainder theorem. This will give you a basic 1 marks. Then calculation of substitute, forming these two equations, and you solve a and b. Okay, we continue. So we use the value a, b. So means our polynomial now. Okay, what's our polynomial now? Our polynomial now will be completed with the value, that missing value just now. So a is 1. So means this polynomial is x cubed minus 4x squared. b is negative 3x plus 18. If you want to factorize it completely, alright, so when you want to factorize it completely, we must have common sense. So like last time we doing quadratic, we will have two factor. Last time we doing quadratic, ax squared bx plus c. Normally we'll have two factor, right? So for this cubic, normally it will have three linear factor. What's your x, x? So it will have three linear factor. So how to find out all the factors? We see here, we can use the information from the beginning. It said it have one of the factor here, x plus 2. So as long as we divide its factor, we can find out another two factors. Okay, so we have to do our long division. We take the factor and become the divisor. So for this question, x cubed minus 4x squared, this polynomial, we will divide its factors, one of its factor, which is given here, x plus 2. Then we can find out other factors. So how to do long division? We will find a multiplier here. What should be put in the value so that we can get x cubed. So we can do the division back, x cubed divided by x. So you need a x squared. So that when you multiply go down here, x squared with x, you can get x cubed. So this part can be divided, finish divided. And then don't forget the number 2 here. We expand like usual. X squared times 2, you get 2x squared. So when you're doing your long division, remember we have to arrange our terms in order. Start with power 3, power 2, then x, then numbers. If that term does not exist, we put a 0. Okay, so When we do our division here, we must able to finish our first term. Like the first process, you're going to finish this term. So when we minus x cubed minus x cubed, 0. Then negative 4 minus 2, it will become negative 6x squared. For the rest of the following is 0 here. So negative 3x plus 18. Then we repeat our division. How far we need to do the division, we see the balance here. Our balance here must be smaller than divisor. So you can see divisor here is linear. So linear is power 1. Then bigger it will be quadratic, because quadratic things is power 2. Then cubic, so it has its ranking. So the smallest we can say is a constant, because constant it don't have a x. Constant, getting bigger linear, getting bigger is quadratic, getting bigger is cubic. So we can see our reminder here, it must be smaller than our divisor. So if our divisor here is a linear, so what we get here is must be a constant, then we can stop the division. So you can see now it's quadratic. Quadratic is still bigger than linear, so means division must be go on. Okay, what's the multiplier we need to put here? We see the value of negative 6 divided by 1, so we need a negative 6 here. How about x? X squared divided by x, we need a x here, so that when we expand back negative 6 times 1, we get negative 6, x times x, we get x squared. And then don't forget the terms beside here, negative 2, negative 6 with 2, negative 12x. Then we minus, we see the balance here. So you can see, you will notice our division, our first term should be equals to 0. You must be able to divide finish. Finish is division. So from here, negative 3 minus, so minus will become positive 12. 9x, then 18. Then continue, we can see it now become linear. So linear versus linear still can be divided. So we have to still going division. Still, this long division haven't finished yet. So what's the multiplier I need here? I need a 9. So 9 times x, we get 9x. 9 times 2, we get 18. So finish. We don't have any reminder. Alright, so that will be common sense correctly, because when we divide with our factor, it should not be having any reminder, because factor theorem said when you use your x plus 2, your reminder will be 0. So when we doing our long division, when we divide by our factor, it should not be getting any reminder. So if you're getting a reminder, means your long division here should be something wrong. You got mistake. So from here we can continue. We write our polynomial in factorized form. So our polynomial will be equals to one of the factor is x plus 2. Then times is quotient. So its quotient here is x squared minus 6x plus 9. Then plus remainder we don't have. So actually this format is come from where? It's come from this concept, our 6.1. When our polynomial divide by a divisor, we get a quotient plus remainder over a divisor. So this is, we write our polynomial in fraction form. Or another form is px equals to qx times dx plus rx. So this is our concept in 6.1. So when we want to write our polynomial, we can use this, where our divisor is x plus 2, our quotient is here, and the remainder here is 0. So you can see our polynomial is writing in factor form. So for quadratic, we can factorize it using calculator. So you can press your calculator, what's the factor for this quadratic. We can use x, a equals to 1, b equals to negative 6, c equals to 9. You will notice that we get one value only, 3. So means that these two factors are same. So factorize completely. So we can see our long division here is 1 marks, and then we get to this form first in quadratic and linear form first, and then factorize it completely. So you can see cubic Polynomial, we have three factor, three x factor.